Yo, what's good, basketball heads? It's your boy Crush. So here goes Shaq saying he knew the NBA was rigged after he heard Phil Jackson make plans to book a hotel in Indiana for the NBA Finals. And through the years, fans always been saying the NBA's rigged. You see a lot of questionable calls, plays. You see things that don't add up, and you're like, So in the back of our minds, a lot of us, we always thought the league was rigged. Games are scripted, especially in the modern era, with all the money to be made, millions and millions of dollars to be made from sports betting and all this stuff. Yes, some of the game is rigged. They'll have teams lose games so they can make millions and millions of dollars. There's a lot of money to be made. The NBA is even encouraging sports betting. But this is Shaq saying he knew the game was rigged because of certain situation with Phil Jackson. So this is what Shaq had to say. True story, and I never told this story. In the first round, the first championship, I heard Phil Jackson tell Gary Vitti, hey, get us some hotels in Indiana because that's where we're going to play in the finals. That was before game 1 of the finals, and it didn't hit me until we got to Indiana. I'm just telling you what I heard the man say. We hadn't even played one game yet, and they were back in the meeting like, get us some hotel rooms in Indiana. But I'm glad we beat Reggie Miller. That's crazy, but that is further proof the league is rigged. At the end of the day, it's a business. This is a billionaire business. It's all about the money. Money talks. Like any other big corporation or company, they're about making those M's. So yes, games are rigged. Coaches and teams are told to lose games, win games. Yes, of course the league have their hands in the playoffs and all this. Of course. We know this for a fact, especially when it comes to the playoffs and, 7-game series, 6-game series. Yes, the longer teams face each other, the more money to be made. So this is not surprising to me. Yes, it's confirmation, hearing it from a player, but it ain't surprising to me. We always knew, at least in the back of our mind, we saw things and we're like, that don't add up. And we assumed the game was rigged. I don't think the game was always rigged, but I feel at some point, the money started getting so crazy. They're like, you know what? We got to do what we got to do to make more revenue, to bring more revenue in. And they started tampering with the game. Majority of sports nowadays is rigged, man. In some form or another. It's rigged. There's too much money to be made. This is why it's so hard sometimes. You might bet on a team or a certain situation. The idea that the NBA is scripted is not a new one. It's not a new one. This has been going on for a long time. The fans been talking. People have been talking. Because like I said, you'll see things and, some things don't add up. You'll see crazy bogus calls in games. You'll see teams just give up big leads and you just see stuff that don't look right. And in today's time with all the sports betting, everybody's trying to get paid. The league is making a shit ton of money from sports betting. So hell yeah, the game is rigged. More than ever. The game is rigged. It's being tampered with. Everybody's trying to get paid. Even though the Pacers, they were the best team at the time. So that could be the reason why Phil Jackson made the decisions he made. But I could see how that would make you question things like, it wouldn't really take a genius to predict that situation. Because the Pacers were clearly the best team in the East at that time. So, in most cases or situations, you could predict that. So it's kind of a 50-50, but beyond that, yes, a lot of games in the league are rigged. There's rigged situations. Even in this recent playoff, man, I've seen bogus calls. I've seen Jalen Brunson foul somebody. Blatant foul. They went back, reviewed it, and said no foul. Even though the replay showed it was a blatant foul. Believe me, I have seen not just the Knicks game, I've seen a few calls in different games and it's an obvious foul. They went back, reviewed the call, and overturned it. And even the announcers are shocked, like, what the? So I have seen some bogus things in this playoff, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I have seen some really bogus calls, that got overturned and they're blatant fouls. And I'm like, how did And I'm like, how is that not a foul? And it's the most obvious. I'm talking about plays where the player actually hit the person. So I don't know, man. But as far as Shaq and the Phil Jackson situation, at that time, the Pacers were clearly the best team in the East. So you could somewhat predict that, but what he's saying, he's not lying though, man. But without any definitive evidence, it's impossible to say for sure that the NBA is rigging games. We could only speculate. We don't have any hard evidence to say, yo, the games are rigged. Yes, we see a lot of bogus plays. We've been seeing bogus plays for years and years, just stuff that, things that don't add up, but we don't have any hard evidence to be like, look, but I do agree with Shaq, man. Even if the Pacers were the best team in the East, I do agree with him. The games, especially in these times, a lot of games are rigged. Not all the games, but the league do dabble in games at times. They do interfere for sports betting, too much money to be made from sports betting. So yes, they're going to interfere in games, they're going to try their best to, control certain situations. If this team got to lose or win so they can make more money, a lot more money, millions, that's what they're going to do. But it is what it is, But as always, I'll holla. As always, we just talking basketball. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment, share. Holla at your boy.
It's all about the game and how you play it. It's all about the game. I'ma say it. It's all about the game.